important to pay attention to our own mental states, to pay attention to the kinds of thoughts that we're generating and how we're feeling emotionally. And so in a more reflective practice like this, those kinds of things, as we're holding postures, those are the kinds of things that we want to really pay attention to as we are here to nourish ourselves. And in that nourishment, we have to be aware of what we are feeding ourselves. So let's start off seated for a moment, just to begin. And we'll let the spine get taller. Remembering to accommodate the body, so if you're tight in any space and that's going to distract your position, then accommodate that with props, sit on blankets, blocks, whatever you have to do, so that the mind can focus. Otherwise the mind is distracted by the body. So in a easy posture, a seated posture, with the eyes closed, begin to relax as best as you can from the crown of the head down through the neck, the shoulders, the trunk, and through the abdomen, into the hips, down into the legs, and through the feet. And then first watching the breath for a few cycles. Shifting into a deeper breath and letting yourself feel with every inhalation a gentleness that comes into the body and a gentle washing out, releasing out from the body. This life force, this vitality that without we couldn't animate this body. Feeling the gentle flow of the breath as maybe you even deepen it, lengthen it. And now just bring your attention to the sorts of thoughts that are coming in and out at this moment. And then see if you can shift and recall some of the thoughts that you've had today. Allowing your memory to come into the mind at this time. Maybe you've noticed a few. Then shift back into the present moment and notice again what sorts of thoughts are coming through and how you're feeling. And let's carry on this way, watchful without judgment, paying attention, noticing without judgment. Now we're going to start to change the breath and the body. So on the next inhalation, reach the arms, take them outwards, and then reach them upwards. Let the head come back. On the exhalation, bring the palms together, draw the thumbs in towards the chest, right into the heart center. Right in front of it. Inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, hands together, bring them in. Now we're going to continue. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. Exhaling, bringing the hands in. So we'll now start to continue moving this way with the arms, but start to shift so that when you, at some point, you'll find the right point for you. You're going to shift back into the sitting bones and then switch the order of the ankles and then bring the hands in. So see how you'd like to coordinate that. Inhaling, reaching the arms up. And then before going into the other side, at some point you're switching the order of the ankles and lowering. So we're going to let the belly strengthen a little bit here as we coordinate the motion of the arms and the breath moving in and out. Gentle motion in the arms, gentle motion of the breath. Inhaling. Exhaling. Now what we'll do is the next time you circle the arms up, keep lifting them and let the head come back and lift the heart. And we'll meet here for a few deep breaths. We'll bring the arms to a T. Opening the arms. Let's find a side bend. So we'll go to one side, doesn't matter which. Maybe right hand down, left arm up and over. And I think we can coordinate the breath here too. So in the next inhalation, rise up, bring the arms to a T. On the exhalation, find a side bend in the other direction. Inhaling center. Exhaling other side. Inhaling. Finding the middle. Exhaling, exploring the other side. Inhale, returning to the middle. Exhaling the other side. A few more of these. At some point, when you rise, switch the order of the ankles just so that you can even out and we aren't in one position too long with the legs. And we'll take one more each side, evening out. And once you've completed that, sit tall with the arms out. Now with the arms out this way, let's bring our minds to the sensation of expansion. And see if you can bring in this notion of expansion with the inhalation in some way, and also with the exhalation. With each breath, feeling expanding beyond boundaries. Allowing ourselves to feel bigger than what we think we are. Three more deep breaths. And reach the arms upwards. Take the hands together again and let the thumbs meet the heart center. Let's shift out of this position so the legs don't get too tired. Come to hands and knees. Into a table. And from table, start to shift a little bit into some motion here. So anything that feels right, explore. You might have to, take some motion that you haven't taken before. You might find a familiar motion that you know is helpful. So go ahead and just feel around. Maybe cat-cow. Maybe C-shapes, circles, extension in the legs, whatever it is. Take about 10 more breaths to explore. So evening out, let's come into a neutral spine. And then we'll lift the right leg behind, press through the heel. And then on the exhale, bring the knee into the chest and the head down into the knee. Hold here for 2 deep breaths. And then we'll lift that right leg up and behind. And then from here, bring the right foot between the hands. Now we're just going to rise up. We're not going to be in standing much today. We're going to rise up so that we are standing on this left knee and the right foot. And then we'll roll over the back toes and lift the back knee off the mat. Come into a lunge. Nice high lunge. Reach the arms upwards. And so from here, we're going to take a few circles with the arms. So we're going to let the tops of the hands face each other and then bring the hands forward, extending the arms forward. Keep the shoulders rotated in this position, inward rotation. Then reach the arms upwards. Bring the hands, tops of hands back together and start to shift into the other direction. Or not the other direction, so just continue the circle. So we're still here. We're going to take about maybe 3 more of these. This is going to help loosen up some tension in the back of the, behind the shoulder blades, and open up around the shoulders, the upper back. And then we're going to shift into a reverse direction, keeping the tops of the hands facing each other all the way through these circles. If balancing is something you don't want to do right now, you can stay on the left knee and focus on this motion with the arms. And then we'll allow the arms to lower and then bring the hands down around the right foot. You can come down to the left knee. Bring the hands down to the mat. Lift the right leg behind. That activation is important for where we're going next to our pigeon posture. So take right knee to right hand, left leg back. And then we'll just begin to sway a little bit side to side. And if you prefer to take this on the back, of course, you're always free to go into another position. And when you're ready, start to lower. Now, when you're there, once you've lowered, we're going to see if we can facilitate the opening up of this right hip and the layers of muscles there. So from here, roll over the back toes and then push into the left toes, lift the left knee. Now push the right knee down into the mat. And then relax the right leg and the left leg, coming back to the top of the left foot. Let's do this a couple more times. Roll over the back toes, lift the knee, push into the right knee, and then relax. And we'll do this for one more inhalation. Roll over back toes, push, right knee into mat, and then exhale, release. Let's see if we can now let go a little further into this, remembering to keep the head fairly level with the rest of the back so it isn't, too far down in comparison. And if it is, then just prop it up with something. Now, while you're here, you might start to move the right foot around. So maybe flex it and then relax it. Flexing, relaxing, helping ourselves get in a little deeper into the layers of muscles in the right hip. Now, after you've done that, you might be able to creep that right foot a little bit more to the left. And if you're really tight in this space, then this right foot is more like underneath the right hip, and you're kind of sitting on the right foot. So remembering there is a spectrum, and it's okay wherever you are. So just notice, where are you in this body? How does it feel to be in this body, in this position? And not judging that as good or bad, but just noticing it and being aware of it. And let's come back to the notion of experiencing a gentleness, even if we're feeling a little bit of a challenge, seeing how we can kind of transmute that into a gentle experience. Maybe it's through the breath or through the relaxed mind, the non-judgmental mind. We're going to allow ourselves to get through the point where it starts to get a little bit more intense in this area of the body. So it might be right about now, it's starting to feel a little bit more obvious that this area is being worked on. And that's because now we have some areas that have opened, the more superficial layers of the muscles have opened. Now we're getting a little deeper. Those muscles being tense, we're feeling them. Still here. So long as we're not feeling sharp pains, then it's okay. We can stay here and breathe through it. We're here for a few minutes today. So maybe you're starting to feel now a little bit more intensity. Getting further in. Let's take maybe 3 more deep breaths. I'm not actually keeping track of how long we're there, but I'll be able to sense it in my body. Probably at least a 4-minute hold, I'd say. So we're going to start to come out of this. And let's do so in a gentle way today. So we're going to roll over the back toes and come to the left knee, just so we can send the right leg, bent leg, over to the right, come into a half frog position. So releasing the right knee over to the right, and it's fairly high up, the right knee. And then we'll start to straighten this right leg slowly. So actually go a little bit more slowly than you would want. And then that way we can keep the right hip flexor from triggering. And then maybe rest the forehead on hands or on the mat. And see about relaxing the right leg, relaxing the left leg. Now in this position, you know, it might feel like the right heel is further out to the right. I know for me it does. So you can sense the difference between left leg and right leg here. And we're going to start to shift out of this and come into a child's posture for a few breaths. So you might bring the forearms down, push into the elbows, walk the hands back, or however you want to get there. And we'll have knees spread apart, and then just lowering. Now this right hip flexor has been through a bit, but it's going to open up as we go into the left side. So we have a little sequence to go through first. So let's take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Make sure the breath is even. Let the inhalation and exhalation together be about no less than 10 seconds. See if you can get them further than that. But then your inhalation, maybe 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 seconds. And then match your exhalation to that. So now we're going to start to rise and come up into a table. And here we'll start with the left side. So next inhalation, lift the left leg behind. Press through the heel. Deep breath in. On the exhalation, bring the knee to the nose and hold here. I think we held here for 2 or 3 breaths before. We'll lift the leg behind and then exhale, bring the left foot between the hands. Lift the trunk. And then from here, we'll roll over the back toes and lift that right knee up, coming into a high lunge. So from here, we're taking the arms. We're going to continue circles with the arms. Let's just bring the arms in front so we have tops of hands meeting each other. And then we'll start to circle one way, keeping the shoulders rotated this way. So the palms is in this direction, as best as you can. Large range of motion here, as expansive as you can with the arms. Okay, at some point start to rotate the other way. And then in the following exhalation, release the arms alongside the body and bring the hands down around the left foot. And then right knee can come down, lift the left leg behind, and we'll set up pigeon on the side. Left knee to left hand, right leg slides back. Little rocking side to side, slowly making your way down. And again, we'll try to facilitate this posture so that once you've lowered the trunk and the head, we'll roll over the back toes, lift the knee up, and then push into the left knee. It's really the whole left, lower left leg that's pushing into the mat. And then releasing that. And 2 more times, rolling over back toes, pushing left leg into mat. Releasing. Once again. And letting go. Okay, then as you're here, start to move the left foot around, so flexing and pointing the left foot. And then after that, you might be able to inch that left foot a little bit more to the right. And relaxing into this. And watching how you feel, watching any thoughts that come through. Not needing to stop any of them, but just not being overtaken by any of them. So continuing to watch that gentle, with that gentle gaze. Maybe reaching that first step into more intensity. And still watching. It's so important to stay when it's a little uncomfortable. If we were just to leave this position, we really wouldn't benefit as much, as opposed to staying and seeing through each level of intensity. Breathing into this position, into the space of the body that you feel. Encouraging expansion in that space. Maybe now taking that second step into an intense situation in this left hip. And with your unwavering awareness, being with the experience. As you watch the changes, as you watch the breath, be here just a little longer. I think this is about it here. So we're going to start to roll over the back toes, lift the knee, and take this left leg out to the left. Relax it. A couple more deep breaths. And then we'll send this left leg slowly, slower than you might want to meet the right leg on the mat. Resting the forehead on the mat and then releasing both of the legs, feeling the heels drop out to the sides. So that we can release a little bit more in the upper back and the chest. We're going to find some activation here now. So let's bring the forehead to the mat and bring the hands down underneath the shoulders. And tuck the elbows in towards the waist. Okay, so the legs are relaxed at first, so the heels are shifting away from each other. Now we'll bring the heels together to touch. And then on the next inhalation, tense up the legs completely from the feet up to the bottom, and then lift the head, the chest, and then hover the hands. Now you can lift the feet if you'd like, and the thighs, or you can just focus on the upper body, sending the elbows back and up. And then exhale, lower down. Now we'll continue. Keep the low body engaged. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Couple more. And exhaling, lowering. Find your way back to child's posture. Push into the forearms, walk back. Release down. Now, before we come into another position, we're going to focus on the sacred word or sound, Om. And what we'll be doing is inhaling and then exhaling, bringing your awareness down into the belly where you'll start to imagine the sound, Om. Now, if you'd like, you can start to chant it and then eventually turn that into whisper and then silence. But see about creating that sound, experiencing it internally in the belly. Om. Om. One more breath. We'll start to rise up to table position and then standing on the knees. Let's rise and do more work for the chest and the upper body. So we could just start with hands to hips for a moment. Pull the pelvis in, engage the glutes, and then begin to stretch the heart upwards into camel. Take 2 breaths. So this is our first set. And then come back to neutral spine. So if you feel like you're going to go deeper, you can roll over the toes. And then either way, we'll go ahead and start to engage the glutes to protect the low back and begin to stretch the heart up. So if you have the toes rolled over, then you can take hands to the heels. Now we're going to take 5 breaths wherever you are. This is our second set. We'll be taking 3. Reverse your way out carefully. And then now, if you'd like to go a little deeper, you'll bring the tops of the feet back down to the mat, and then you're going to find heels with hands. Otherwise, you'll go into one of the earlier variations. So engage the glutes, and then when you're ready, find your variation. Put 2 more deep breaths. Reversing your way out of this. Now we're going to take a baby headstand, it's considered. So if you have if your mat is on a hard surface, not a carpeted area, you might want to have a blanket underneath the head. But this is just a baby version, so no worries. We're gonna take the hands behind and interlace the fingers, squeeze the shoulders back, look upwards. And on the next exhalation, begin to lower the trunk and bring forehead to the mat until you can roll to the top of the head and the hips are over the knees. Sending the arms up and over. One more breath. And releasing the arms, coming back into child's posture. 5 deep breaths here. And perhaps internally you can recreate the silent sound of Om. Find a clearing breath, releasing all tension. And maybe a couple more clearing breaths, really considering how so much of our tension can be brought on simply by our judgments. And in releasing those judgments, we release that tension. We find ourselves more open and expansive. Able to maneuver in our lives with equanimity. And we'll start to rise and come to seated with the, let's take a wide leg fold and seated, but a half variation. So we're going to take the left leg out to the left and keep the right foot right towards the center. You might have to bend your left knee. You might have to sit on blankets or blocks. Blankets preferably. But you might also need some blocks in front of you so that you can rest. So we're going to start to just release down. Now you have an option. You can keep the spine long and just start to lower the trunk, keeping the activation of the spine here. Or you can lower and round the back, round the spine, and let the head go. So you might do a little bit of both. I think we'll have at least a minute here. So give yourself some time to relax in. Just make sure you aren't lifting the left sitting bone. You want it to be pressed down, and you can stretch the low back. It's nice to let the neck release, not to have to hold it up. So we're already at a minute. Now give this left leg a little bit, or the left foot a little bit of motion. So flexing and pointing the foot, maybe circling it a bit. We're gonna come up halfway. And when you come up halfway, find length in the spine rather than rounding. Walk over to the left leg. The hands can be to the inside of the left leg or around the left leg. But reach that right arm especially away from the sitting bone. Feel the extension in the back, in the arms. Maybe reach that right arm a little further. There's ways you can increase the stretch. You might bring a block to the foot and hold the block. You might take right hand to the outside of the left leg. So see if you can take this right arm to a point where you start to feel a stretching right underneath the shoulder to the right to the outside of the shoulder. And this is a Good tense muscle for many of us. Next couple of inhalations that you take, see if you can really feel the tightness that occurs on the breath in that area that's being stretched. And then feel the release there, the equal release on the exhalation. Now we're going to come back to center and then fold back in, and you'll see now that you can get lower more comfortably than you could before, even if it's a little bit, an inch, half an inch. Every little bit counts. Take a deep breath in and out. And then we're gonna take, I think, one more breath here. It'd be nice to stay a little longer, but we want to get to the other side. So we'll start to rise and then switch legs. Right leg out to the right, left foot in the middle. When you're ready, come in to this position. Now, hopefully you notice that it's harder to get the trunk as low as you just had it on the other side. Maybe a little bit of motion in the right foot. And then finding your way to simply letting go. So maybe getting the neck to an inactive state, or it can just be there, the head supported. Let's come back to that word gentle. Sink your mind into that word. Let your body sink into that state of gentleness. Hey, I think that should have been a minute there. So we're going to start to rise. I feel like we could probably have stayed there longer, so let's see. We're going to come up halfway and then walk over to the right leg. Here we fold into the right leg. Little by little, we can get deeper and deeper. Really take that left hand and reach it away from the left sitting bone. Keep the left sitting bone down. Find a way to intensify this so you can feel right below the left arm to the outside of the left shoulder blade. Get to the point where you can feel that area tighten up as you inhale and release as you exhale. And then we'll start to come back to center. Fold your way in once again. couple deep breaths. And we will rise. Now let's fold the legs for a moment and arch the back here. So we'll have hands come to the front shin or foot and squeeze the shoulders back. Let the head come back. Come to neutral spine. Twist to the right, left hand to right knee, right hand behind. Come to center, twist to the left. Come to center, roll the shoulders. Let's work with the neck. So take the shoulders back and down. Bring the chin down and into the chest, then lift the chin, lower, lift, lower, lift. Bring the head to center, tilt the head to one side, lifting the ear up, and then over to the other side, ear up. Again, a couple times. Once the head comes back to center, turn the head left, right a few times. Doing these sorts of things with the neck every day can help prevent lots of problems there. Let's bring the head back to center and now just focus on taking one ear skyward. Roll that same shoulder and then send it down. Pick up the chin a little bit. Bring the head to center. Take the other ear upwards, roll that shoulder. Settle the shoulder down. Tilt the chin slightly up. And bring the head to center. Now you can just drop the head and sway it a little bit side to side. And then let the head go. Take a clearing breath in, out, and lift the head. Now before we come to lying on the back to rest, bring the palms together. Close the eyes. Sense the gentleness of your existence in your body and your mind and your heart. And let's remember that it takes strength to be gentle. And let's rest with that. So when you're ready, come all the way down to the back. You might stretch the legs forward, the arms behind. If there's something else you'd like to do, you can find your way there. But then we'll go ahead and start to set up Shavasana otherwise. So releasing the arms, releasing the legs, flipping the palms upwards. Take a breath in through the nose. Release out through the mouth. And sink. Relax. release, rest, and be right here. Before you change anything, just watch the cyclical movement, so gentle in its nature, of your breath. Connect to the strength of your being in every way possible. And notice the gentleness of your own heart. Your physical heart beating rhythmically, circulating blood through your body. And the circulation of your metaphorical heart. The place where you feel love in its entirety. With that, begin to deepen the breath. Start to come back now to the body. Move the hands and the feet. Stretch the body long along the mat. And then eventually bring the knees in and sway a little bit side to side. And we'll bring the body over to one side. Rest here for a moment. And then we'll push up to come to seated and seal our practice today. Bringing the palms together, closing the eyes, feeling life move through you. We'll honor that life and this practice by chanting Om 1 time. Breathing in through the nose. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. I honor the light in you that is the same light in me. Namaste.